I'm going to admit this. I was never a huge fan of Fast and the Furious when it all first started. I actually thought it was overrated. And now I'm a fan. Hey everybody, this is David, and today I am going to be talking about Furious 7, the seventh film in the Fast and the Furious franchise, starring Vin Diesel, Dwayne Johnson, Jason Statham, and of course the late Paul Walker. And yes, as I was saying, I actually never started off as a fan when the very first movie was originally released. I remember watching that film, but never really getting into it like everybody else did at the time. There were a lot of people that really loved the franchise, but from what I heard, it got worse and worse after the first one until the fourth movie, where I heard things were starting to get more interesting, and then the fifth and sixth movie like exploded, and that's when they really did good in theaters and people were really talking about it. That's when Dwayne Johnson entered the franchise. And when I heard the sixth movie was like, David, you got to check out the sixth movie, I kind of held it off for a while until sadly the late Paul Walker, until he passed away. And that kind of pushed me to finally go and check the movies out because, it was a really tragic thing that happened to him. And I wanted to see, like, since I also heard that the last couple of films were really good, I wanted to check them out myself. And yeah, now I'm a fan. Yeah, I'm kind of sad that I got into the whole thing too late in the game, but I'm glad I caught up for this movie because it was really enjoyable, just as enjoyable as the last three films. And yeah, so let's get into this, guys. What did I think? First of all, it's great seeing this entire cast together again, including Paul Walker. This cast really has great chemistry together, all of them. And it's going to be hard to really see this franchise continue without Paul Walker, because they're going to. This movie made already a ton of money on its opening day, and it's going to be huge this weekend. So they are going to continue it because of that. And it's going to, I mean, we went one movie without Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. The only thing that I can see is if they give Dwayne Johnson a bigger upgrade. But without going too much into what might happen in upcoming films, I want to say this film, it was great seeing all of them together. My only complaint about the cast in this one is really the lack of Dwayne Johnson, man. I was hoping to see more of him in this movie, and he disappears through a good chunk of the film, which, okay, but that's fine. The rest of the cast hold their own really well, and I thought Kurt Russell, it was great to see him in this movie too. He was a lot of fun. The action sequences are great. There was one action sequence which I wish they didn't show in the trailers, but they did, and it was the one where Paul Walker is running on the bus. The action sequences are just like they're so insane sometimes that, like, but it's so much fun at the same time. Like, there's this one scene where the car, they drive a car out of the building, and it literally goes through three buildings, and it's something you have to see to believe. And it's just, the insanity of it is so enjoyable. This is a movie where you can't, like, expect realism, because if you're going in for realism, you're going into this movie for all the wrong reasons. It's all about the fun, insane action, and that movie delivers on that part. I'm also going to say that, going back on Paul Walker, I think this movie did a really good job at kind of closing his story in this film. And I'm not going to spoil how they do it, but there is a moment at the end. It kind of feels throughout the film that they were kind of building to the closing of his story. And I know they didn't finish everything with him, and they got his brothers to come help and finish it. And I didn't notice any of it until the end. I think the very end is where you really notice that, okay, he's not really there during this moment. And but the way they do it is very respectful to the actor and to his character. And I'm not gonna lie, it brought a little, my eyes got a little bit watery because it was very heartwarming and all that. And the way the whole scene was done was just, it was a beautiful way to end his character. So if you are a fan of Paul Walker and the Fast and the Furious franchise as a whole, you are going to be satisfied. If I was satisfied, for sure, everybody else will be satisfied, I hope. Because, yeah, I don't think you could have ended it any better. It was a really nice way to kind of not just close the doors on his character, but for Vin Diesel's character to also say goodbye to him, not just as a character, but as a real life friend. And so there's a lot of great moments throughout, I think. The movie itself is just a fun-filled action film, and you're not going there for the story. There are some weaknesses, there's some moments where I felt that they could have cut out because, like, the stuff between Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel, I felt that stuff was a little too mushy, and that's the kind of stuff for me that I didn't care about. I really like Jason Statham in this movie, though, man. He is a badass, and I know he's playing the brother of Luke Evans's character from, I believe, Fast and the Furious 6. And yeah, he is a total badass seeking revenge on this group, and man, he has a couple of really cool action sequences. He has a cool fight scene with The Rock, and he has a really cool fight scene with Vin Diesel. And Vin Diesel, man, the guy is pumped. I noticed there was something different about him in this movie. I said, he looks a little bit bigger in this movie. I think he really stepped up his game in this one and worked out a lot to really prepare himself and look like he could match Jason Statham in this movie. I think he and to go up, side by side with The Rock as well. And yeah, I mean, it was fun. I'm going to admit that. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, a lot of fun. If you really love the Fast and the Furious movies, especially, I wouldn't say it's as good as the 5th and 6th film, but it's definitely better than the rest, I think. I think I'd put it like with 4, Fast and the Furious 4. Maybe better than that one, though. It definitely had some of what the 5th and 6th film had, but there was something different about it that kind of brought it down a little bit for me. You can tell that this was a different director, and it felt sometimes like it was a little bit all over the place. That's just me, and it felt like it was trying to be not complex, but it was trying to be smart, which I don't think it needed to be, because the fun of these films is that they're not smart films, they're dumb films, and we're just going there for the entertainment, for the ride, for the cheesy one-liners and stuff like that. So with that being said, guys, that's it. Go and check it out, because believe me, it's an entertaining movie. So until next time, take care.